Hello and welcome to another episode of Rico's Rants. I'm your host, Rico DiGiorgio. Okay, uh, Wonder fucking Woman. Wonder Woman. Okay, so I've seen it 3 times in theaters. Once with my friend, once on a date, and then once with my mother. I got 3 different experiences because first time I saw it with a friend, I was pumped up because I had heard so many good things about it, which I had not been hearing for a lot of DC films. So I was really looking forward to, yes, finally breaking the curse of the DC bad movie, whatever. And I was not disappointed. Um, One, Gal Gadot, and I'm pretty sure her last name is Gadot. Like, for a long time I kept saying, is it Godot? Is it Gadot? Pretty sure I heard her last name was Gadot. Um, for me, and bear in mind, I was never a Wonder Woman fan. I I appreciate her, when she was on screen, meaning animated form or in a panel with Batman or Superman or whoever, because she was interesting enough, and also you need a woman dynamic counterpart against a muscular man. You need a woman. Um, but overall, did I really give a shit about the character? No. But Gal Gadot, to me, does an amazing portrayal of Wonder Woman. From what I've read, I knew a decent amount of Wonder Woman. Not a whole lot, but I knew enough. Just fantastic. She looks the she looks the part. She's beautiful. She looks like she'd be Greek. I mean, the actress in real life is Israeli. And my only other experience of Gadot's acting had been in a couple Fast and the Furious movies, in which case I saw those recently, like 3 months ago. Sort of like, all right, let me see what all everyone's talking about for the fucking Fast and Furious movies. I was always been reluctant about it. I'm not a car person, so now I'm finally getting into it. I'm finally checking them out, little by little. And she comes on. I'm just kind of like, huh, okay, I can see the appeal. She's a beautiful woman. She's ethnic, which is sort of air of mystery to these American guys. Like, ooh, who's this Israeli chick? She looks like she could fight because she was actually in the Israeli army. I don't think she like fought or saw any action, but she got trained. And from what I read, like all that shit, all that training and everything, just like worked beautifully as the character of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a fighter. She is tough. She is beautiful. And arguably, Wonder Woman or Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman were one of the best things about Batman v Superman. And I said that in that video, or those 2 videos that I did of Batman v Superman. This is a different Wonder Woman, but it's the same. I mean, because this is Wonder Woman starting out training. This is her first mission. And it shows her in the beginning of the and there will be spoilers. I just want to say that. Heads up, no more warnings, there will be spoilers in this film. In this review of the film. She starts out looking at, like, she's the curator at the Louvre in Paris. And she gets a package by Bruce Wayne, which is kind of weird that she and Bruce Wayne are going to be the love interest to each other. I mean, because I guess Superman has Lois, but Superman's dead and shit. So it's kind of weird to see Batman and Wonder Woman have this romance, because usually it was Superman and Wonder Woman because they're both powerful enough to be with each other. Whereas Batman, despite him saying, I'm Batman and being awesome, is a man. Wonder Woman is a fucking demigoddess, or goddess, I guess. So she gets a package, and it's the original photograph that we saw of her in World War One with Chris Pine and everybody, in Batman v Superman. So of course it shows her her flashback of her being a little girl and the only child on this island of Themyscira, which is just this hidden paradise island that Zeus had made. And it goes into a lot of Greek mythology where Zeus had a son named Ares, the god of war, and after the gods are risen and create man and everything, Zeus makes man, but Ares is jealous and thinks that man can be corrupted, and he's right, and he puts wickedness and greed and war into their hearts, so man slaughter each other, and there's this giant fucking war, and thankfully it doesn't show. I mean, it shows that in a sort of pictorial form, like a drawing, like an animated form, very very basic. Looks like the side of Greek murals, kind of. And the Connie Nielsen, I believe, is narrating it, and Connie Nielsen plays her mother. She so Zeus and Ares are fighting, as well as, and I'm gonna blank on Wonder Woman's mother's name and aunt's name because it's total Greek. It's like Hippotla or Hippodia or something. And I look, Themyscira enough is hard to fucking. Thankfully, her fucking name is Diana. Jesus Christ. So Ares and Zeus are fighting. Wonder Woman's mother is brought in the middle of it, and she and all the Amazonian women are battling against Ares and his. I guess he doesn't have any familiars, but I guess it's the men that he's corrupted. And Zeus, with his like final sense of urgency and his last chance to save and defeat Ares, places a hidden weapon in Themyscira and shields it from the outside world. So it's got a sort of cloaking bubble thing. And so Themyscira is just an entire island of just nothing but athletic, warrior, Amazonian women. And Wonder Woman, who is Diana, she's a little girl as the movie starts. And she wants to fight. She's just got this deep urge to train and fight. And her aunt, who is a general, played by Robin Wright, or Jenny, or fucking Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride. That was a weird thing. Is like, I'm seeing the women princesses from my childhood films like Princess Bride and Star Wars, namely Princess Buttercup and Princess Leia, and I'm now seeing them as generals. I'm seeing General fucking Greek aunt, and I'm seeing General Organa. I love that shit. I love it when they take a character that we love and just sort of, oh, you're still a princess, but now you're a general. I love it. Um, Starts training Diana in secret, and then her mother finds out, doesn't want to wants to put a stop to it, and then sort of gets talked into being like, fine, you're gonna train her even harder than anybody else you've ever trained. She needs to be the strongest warrior we've ever had, and Diana becomes that. And there's this great little montage of her training and getting better and better and stronger and more powerful. And it gets to the point where like the other Amazonian women are just like, this bitch scares me. Like, this, she's got a power that she doesn't know she has. She doesn't know how to control, and we don't know what the fuck she can do. And look, I will say, and like I said, spoilers. The secret weapon that's in that Zeus puts there is very obviously Diana. Like, you know that going into it that she's the weapon. The MacGuffin of that is it's a sword called the God Killer. No sword can kill a god. Only a god can kill a god. And so you find out at the end of the film, again, spoilers, but not really a big surprise, that she is actually the daughter of Zeus and henceforth the brother of Ares. So, and if you know anything about Zeus and Greek mythology, Zeus was doing this shit all the time. Zeus was just going down, impregnating someone or usually raping someone, and making a fucking demigod. Hence, I don't know, fucking Hercules. The Disney movie Hercules is great and everything, but it's not really accurate. Zeus raped a lot of fucking people. Um, so after she's in the middle of training, she goes out to kind of look at the ocean, and all of a sudden this World War One plane just kind of crashes through her bubble and crashes in the ocean, and she dives down. This great shot of her just diving off this giant fucking mountain and swimming towards him. And Chris Pine is the pilot, and he's struggling with his seatbelt and goes underwater, and he kind of looks up behind him and he sees part of his wreckage still float, and then you see this silhouette of Wonder Woman just standing on his wreckage, and you don't see her, you just see a silhouette of a woman, and just kind of staring down at him, and he's just kind of staring up at her, just totally transfixed and in awe. I mean, he's drowning too. He's just kind of just. But I mean, look, I could not take my eyes off Gal Gadot, man. I totally understand what Chris Pine was talking about, and that look, they just like if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die looking something beautiful. She saves him, and as she brings him to shore, there's this great little. She's like, "You're a man," and he's like, "Don't I look like one?" And you have to understand that she's never seen a man. She doesn't know what a man really looks like, just from drawings. And assumingly, most of them are all depictions of Ares or Zeus, very Greek molded, buff bodies, warrior Spartan type bodies. Because Chris Pine is in shape, but he's not a Greek god. So she's just kind of like, "You're a man," and she says this in such a coy way, which is like, "Who? I like you," but at the same time, you're not what I was expecting. And that's what I love about Gal Gadot, is that she plays Diana or Wonder Woman, depending how you look at it, with a lot of um, naivety, as well as playfulness, as well as determined fierceness, warrior, whatever. Like, she channels that really well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, she was a great actress in this. She comes off like, when she goes to England, and she's basically literally a fish out of water. Not literally, but like, I mean, it would have been more apt of a analogy if she was a mermaid, but she is just plucked out of an island into and thrown into London circa 1917, 18, right in the middle of World War One. And she's just looking around, and she's like, "It's ugly," and like, England is ugly because there's so much pollution, there's so much street noise, there's lots. She looks at a car, just kind of stares at it as it's coming towards her, and he just pulls her out of the way because she's just like, "What's this fucking metal horse carriage that's coming after me?" And so she plays that shit brilliantly. So back to, she saves Chris Pine, and all of a sudden these German soldiers just like, they seen him crash, and they kind of like are like, all of a sudden they're in this dense fog, and they're kind of getting closer, and all of a sudden they're through the bubble. They see this giant blue sky, blue watered paradise, and start attacking. They start storming the beaches, essentially, or beach. And at that moment, all the Amazon women do like just come down and fuck these Germans up. Some die in the process, including, again, spoiler, fucking General Buttercup. Oh god, that was hard to watch. And she has this tearful. She sacrifices herself to take a gunshot from Wonder to protect Diana. Oh man, it was. I mean, going into it, I'm just like, oh shit, I'm already like, whoa, I'm into this. So Chris Pine tells them all like, look, I'm a spy. I have to get back. I have to try and stop the war. And they're all kind of like, war. And he's like, yeah, the war, like the war to end all wars. And they're just blanking on it because they're so cut off from the outside world, literally. And I mean, that's the thing. Is World War I was a really interesting choice because usually in the comics and mythos of Diana and Wonder Woman, she fought in World War II. And I thought the World War I thing was really brilliant because World War I is sort of the forgotten war of cinema. It's always World War II. It's always the Civil War. It's always Vietnam. It's World War I is not really covered anymore, with the exception of something like the Red Baron, or I mean, my only like screen experience of seeing something World War I related was Blackadder Goes Forth, and that was really it. So, but World War I was sort of like them finally getting into actual guns, but still having to use bayonets. They were experimenting with gases, like deadly fucking gases. I mean, explosions and dynamite and shit were around, but there was like, we got gas, motherfucker. And that's a running theme. There's like the villains, the Germans, in particular, Doctor Poison, is trying to make just the worst, terrible, um, death-inducing gas that she can come up with, and she does. So Diana hears what Chris Pine's saying as he's brought to the truth with the lasso of truth. Oh, that was a great scene where he's just like lassoed up. He's trying to not reveal that he's a spy. He just blurts out, "I'm a spy." I loved it. Um, she thinks it's Ares. Like, it's got to be Ares. And her mother and all the other Amazonians are just like, that's a fucking story. Like, yeah, it happened, but Ares is dead. She's like, no, no, it has to be Ares. Ares influenced man. He made this war. Blah 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 blah. So she takes Steve, Chris Pine, Steve Trevor, um, on a boat, and she's like, take me to the war. So, like I said, they go to England and everything, and she sort of just like tries fitting in a little bit, and doesn't because she's a very strong-willed woman. I mean, she is the woman. Um, I mean, she is essentially the first woman suffragette. She's essentially the first feminist because no other woman was able to go into a room with the British generals and British commanders and voice her opinion unless they were a secretary. And that's how he kind of brings her in. He's like, "Oh, this is my secretary." She's like, and she speaks so many languages. She's a very good secretary. And she just like, "I'm not a secretary." And there's a great scene where she and I can't remember the actress' name, but Steve Trevor's actual secretary, is this sort of comedy relief character. She's sort of a heavier woman, short, kind of just a funny, you know, Cockney kind of secretary. And she's like, oh, I'm his secretary. And she's like, what's a secretary? He's like, oh, well, I basically do what he tells me to do. And she's like, well, where I come from, that's called slavery. And the secretary just immediately says, I really like her. Like, and you can't help but really like Diana. You really can't help it. So, flash forwarding, I have to talk about one pivotal scene that I'm not going to ruin the ending. I'm not going to ruin the final battle. I'm not going to ruin anything. I'm going to just tell you about this one scene that happens sort of halfway of the movie. And they're in no man's land. They're in the trenches, and she had just gotten there. And she takes a look around. She's like, "So the Germans are over there." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, well, let's go get them." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. You can't cross that." He's like, "Look, this is called no man's land, meaning no man can cross." And she just kind of looks at him like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that shit." And she starts climbing the ladder, and she has on her tiara. She starts unclasping her dress that she was wearing to cover up her armor, and she just pulls herself up this fucking ladder, and this is great rise of her just getting up on top of the and stepping foot on no man's land in her fucking Wonder Woman armor. She's got her shield, she's got her lasso tucked, she's got her sword, and she just starts marching through. And Steve Trevor just like, Diana, no! And such a great idea. Such a feminist, awesome, brilliant fucking idea. To take the concept of no man's land, meaning no man can cross before they get shot and just killed instantly. So, a Wonder Woman can cross. Oh, I love that. I mean, it's very blatant, and it's very obvious. But fuck, is it satisfying? Oh my god. And she just marches across, and the Germans start shooting at her, and she just deflects them with her fucking bracelets, and then with her shield, and she's just cowering down and just deflecting machine gun fire, which gives Steve Trevor and his homies time to fucking jump out and start attacking them, and you know, the big push, essentially. Absolutely loved that scene. There's a lot of great fight scenes. I will say that the final arc kind of goes downhill a little bit, but you're satisfied. You are satisfied as a moviegoer, and especially as a DC moviegoer. We're just kind of like, Man of Steel was okay. Batman v Superman sucked with some very key scenes, except for some very key scenes, particularly Wonder Woman and Batman. Suicide Squad was disappointing, but fuck, Wonder Woman. Just, they had a female director, Patty Jenkins, who, of course, my whole thing is, if you're going to make a strong, woman-centric superhero movie, you need a woman to direct it. Or Joss Whedon. One of the two. But, god damn it, I fucking enjoyed that. Did I love this movie? Yeah. Will I watch it? Will I go to see it again in theaters? No. 3 is my limit. I think that's probably got to be a first, actually. I don't think I've seen a movie 3 times. With the exception of me working in a movie theater. Like, I mean paying to go see it 3 separate occasions. I haven't done that. This is a first for me, actually. And because I saw it with my friend, and we were having a good time. We were also drinking. The second time was on a date. And I was, it was our first official date, so we were kind of making out through the whole thing, but we were watching at the same time, and I was kind of getting all giddy. But then when I took my mother had surgery recently and was sort of getting cabin fever and was just really not 100%, not feeling well. I wanted to take her out to see something special. She had tolerated me, seeing comic book movies with me many times, and she loved them all, but she doesn't understand them. And a lot of it is Batman, Superman, Iron Man. There's all these man-centric comic book movies. This is a real first for me to sit down with my mother and sort of see my mom just kind of go cheering on. And a reason why, I asked my mom, I was like, did you like it? She's like, Rico, one of the reasons why I like comic book movies, but I don't like them as much as you, is because there was never someone for me to cheer on. Now I have someone to cheer on. I was like, Rico, and she's basically phrased it but without explicitly saying it, I kind of been waiting for this my whole life without even knowing I was waiting for this. And that's pretty good. I'm trying to think if there's anything bad. No, like I said, the final act kind of just dips a little bit. You're kind of like, all right, but some great, fantastic fight scenes. The music, I fucking love her theme. Love that shit. I welled up when she just crossed no man's land. I love the fact they pick World War One. Danny Houston is in it. I really have always enjoyed Danny Houston as an actor. He just hammy German He's like, "What are you?" I fucking loved it. I love this movie. Will I rewatch it again in theaters? No, but I will fucking buy it when it comes out on DVD. That's for sure. So, what did you guys think? Did you guys like the movie? Let me know if you loved it. And I apologize for some of the spoilers. I didn't spoil too much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment and share. Love you all, guys. Take care.